Hello, it's Ruby, and today I am going to be filming a winter read-a-thon. I'm going to be reading an array of wintry, cozy books today. It's the 29th of December and it's very, very cold. I just went outside and it's freezing. So I'm going to start by finishing the book I'm reading at the moment. I'm not very far through. It's The Midnight Peacock by Catherine Woodfine, the fourth book of the Sinclair's Mysteries. This here is a middle grade book. It's set in the Edwardian period and there's something really comforting about this book. I think this series is really underrated. It's well researched, like you learn about the Edwardian period whilst you're reading it, and it's very atmospheric. So of course I made some porridge for breakfast and I was just reading at the same time as making this. The Sinclair Mystery series is about two girls, Sophie and Lils, who run a private detective agency. And with their friends in Edwardian London, they embark on all of these mysteries, mainly around the Sinclair department store, which is a really elaborate, beautiful department store which opens. It was really cold today, as I said, so I put a blanket around my shoulders. So then I was getting really cold, so I went down to sit by our oven. Our oven is also our central heating system, so it's always on and it heats up the house. So this is the warmest place in the house and the floor is always really warm here as well. So I just sat down here with my tea and read. This is one of my favourite places to read in the house in the winter. It's 10:30 and I am nearly finished with this book. It's taken me quite a long time, even though it is a middle grade. It's not very long and it's not hard, but I am loving this book so much, and so I'm really savouring every page. Time to get some tea. So today I was trying this gunpowder green tea from Fortnum & Mason, which my sister got for Christmas, but she said she didn't like it, so she said I could have it very kindly, and I tried it today and it is so good. I just put this in my vintage silver teapot, and this was actually the very best kind of tea to enjoy whilst reading the Sinclair Mysteries book, because the ritual of preparing tea in this way is very old-fashioned, and so it definitely helped to get me into the mood of the book. Okay, this book took me ages to finish. It is currently 11:08 and I've just finished this book. I am actually going to go through, and in the last like 200 pages I was adding little pieces of washi tape to the passages I really enjoyed, because some of this writing is just so descriptive and lovely. It's all the kind of passages I want to reread. So I'm going to quickly flick through and find those pages. It's going to take like another 20 minutes, I know. Book one finished and it is 11:15. This is not a great start to this read-a-thon, I've got to say, but quality not quantity. I would give this book 4.5 stars. I've read the first, second, and then this is the fourth book in this series. I didn't read the third. I loved the first, one of the best middle grade books I've read. Second I didn't really like, and then this one I loved. I think it was just as magical and filled with wonder as the first book in the series. I just love her descriptions, and set in Edwardian England, Edwardian London. This looks nice and wintry. Our family friend Jo sent me this when she read it. She was like, oh, I think you might like this. And it's been on my TBR, so this is a lovely surprise when she sent it. Yeah, okay, gonna get started with this. I'm very excited for this one. This book is advertised as a thriller, and it definitely is fast-paced. It's a page-turner, but it's also highly provincial. Oh my god, okay, I feel like I get so excited about books. I enjoy pretty much every book I read. I don't know if I'm just really lucky, easily pleased, or I now have a sense of like knowing what kinds of books I'm going to enjoy. I have a feeling it's the latter one, because when I was younger I did find way more books that I didn't like, but now most of the books I pick up I think I will like and I end up liking. So reading Pine by Francine Toon. This is set in the Scottish Highlands, and it's about a young girl called Lauren who lives alone with her dad. You're not really sure of the particulars, but her dad is quite neglectful, which we kind of gather from this family in the village who really looks out for Lauren and is checking up on her all the time to see that she's okay. I'm not sure why they are so concerned. I don't know if there's been some kind of like, I'm kind of expecting that that something's happened with the dad. It's really good, it's really gripping. Love books which focus on provincial life as opposed to like a really big storyline, which is definitely what the other book that I read, the Catherine Woodfine series, is more plot driven. It's like a lot of action happening very quickly. This is not very action based, it's much more domestic and focuses on tiny details. I love that it's narrated in the third person, but it uses childlike images. You've got a really clear child voice coming through, and so the images are really just fantastic. It says her hair was as black as school shoes. Isn't that wonderful? I love that. Yeah, okay, anyway, I'm 50 pages in and it's 11:45. I'm gonna read this next bit outside, probably only like 30 pages because it's freezing today, but it's constantly talking about how freezing cold it is, and so I think it would be atmospheric to go and read this outside. I first of all put on these really, really thick ski socks because I knew my feet were going to freeze if I didn't. I put on a scarf and also a hat. Oh, and I also had a hot water bottle under my coat because otherwise I would be absolutely freezing. I feel the cold really easily. Hey! Oh gosh, it's cold. I just sat down on the swinging bench outside, which is my favourite place outside to read because I can look out over the garden. So I sat here with my nose covered by my scarf, and it was such a great idea to read this book this way because, as I said, it is set in November in the Scottish Highlands and they keep on describing the cold, and so it was very much atmospheric. But I didn't last for too long. I read maybe 60 pages outside and then I went up to my bedroom and I read some more upstairs. And then, I was still very cold, so I went back down to the Aga, filled up another hot water bottle, and just sat there to read for a little bit. This was so cozy, and I didn't film this, but my dogs actually came up and slept beside me, which was really nice. Then I finished Pine and posted a review on Goodreads. If you didn't know, Goodreads is like a social media site for people who love reading, and you can definitely follow me on there if you want to see the books that I'm reading. Okay, I just finished Pine and it is 3:10. This book was honestly incredible. It took me a lot longer to read than I thought it would. Other readathons I've done, I have read a lot more books, but I feel really lucky with the 2 books I've read so far today that I've really loved both of them. Like, this one definitely gets 5 stars from me. The only thing I didn't like was the ending. I thought the final chapter was really rushed and it left a lot of things untied, and it just felt like the author wanted to finish the book because all of the action had ended. But I think there was still a lot to be said. about what happened. Like I felt like the characters kind of lost dimension in the final chapter. It felt more like a fairy story than using this like these really amazing characters that had been built up over the course of the book, you know? But would really highly recommend this. One of the best books I read this year. Okay, anyway, it's 3:10 as I said. I'm now going to read the book of the month for December for the book club I run, which is Poirot. What's his name? Poirot. The Agatha Christie Christmas book. I meant to read this before Christmas and then I didn't. But I need to read it for this evening because I've got a virtual book club meeting. There were 2 books we were reading this month. Poirot's Christmas and A Christmas Carol. So I've bought this on Kindle because it was free and I am going to read it on my laptop, I think. As I said, I decided to read this on the Kindle app on my laptop because I wanted to make annotations and this is the best way to do that. So yeah, I was reading this for the book club as I said, but we didn't end up discussing the book in the Zoom call. So I didn't finish this in time for the call and I was like, oh no, I can't believe I didn't. But it didn't end up mattering because we didn't actually end up talking about the book. It's 6:20 and for the last hour and a half I've had a call with some people from my book club. I run a book club on Facebook called the Ruby Reads Book Club and every month we read 2 books to discuss. So yeah, we had a call for an hour and a half and that obviously posed a break in my reading, but I'm 79% of the way through this book and I'm just going to finish this off now. Hello, it's the next morning and I just wanted to check in because I didn't actually round off this vlog. So last night I finished reading Hercule Poirot's Christmas, which I did actually really enjoy. Like, I didn't enjoy it as much as Pine, and as a thriller I just don't think it was as good. Agatha Christie, her books are very gripping because there are just so many twists and turns. It's like every single page you've got something new and it's heading in a new direction. It's not just new information, it's like changing the way that you are approaching the mystery yourself. The whole thing was pretty much through dialogue, which I did notice when I read the Orient Express as well, but most of the details, like the clues of the case and things, are always relayed through dialogue. So you'll have like Poirot through the evidence, what he's seeing in front of him, which I do think really adds to that like suspense feel. I think that's what makes the book very fast paced because everything's in the present tense. You're not kind of setting the scene and like telling us all about the characters, you're learning about the characters through expository dialogue. So for example, at the beginning of this book you have a conversation where Lydia talking through like the different family members, which means you get to know the family members but you don't have to be told about it. And I do like this as well because it means that everything's up for question, everything's subjective because we've learnt about it from a character through dialogue, which means it's not trustworthy in the same way as it would be if we had an omnipresent, omniscient narrator. But yeah, I did enjoy it. It was fun to read. I liked it. I would recommend it. But if you are going to walk away with a recommendation from this video, then read Pine instead because I think it's like a million times better. I gave this book 3 stars, which means I did really like it, but it's not one of the best books I've read. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this readathon. I know I only read 3 books, which is way less than what I usually read. Also, last night I had 2 Zoom calls, which in retrospect probably wasn't a good idea to do the readathon that day. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope that you have a productive week.